Hello everyone. In this video we're going to go over the novel study questions for The Hobbit. I apologize for the lighting, I'm working in the patio today. Chapter number 1, An Unexpected Party. Who is Bilbo Baggins? Bilbo Baggins is a hobbit who is a small beardless creature with hairy feet who is quite sociable and loves the comforts of home. Number 2, give a brief description of a hobbit. Hobbits are beardless little people about half the size of humans. They possess no magic to speak of other than to disappear when big people are about. They are also fat in the stomach and like to dress in bright colors, but they wear no shoes as their feet are furry with leathery soles. Question number 3. Discuss the significance of the name Belladonna. The hobbits regularly name their girls after flowers. Belladonna is a significant name because it is also the name of a poisonous plant. Question number 4. What did Gandalf claim to be looking for when he arrived at Bilbo's doorstep? Gandalf tells Bilbo that he's looking for someone to share an adventure with. Question number 5. What does Gandalf do with the spike on his staff just before leaving Bilbo's home? Gandalf makes a strange mark on the outside of Bilbo's front door and leaves. Question number 6. Who began to arrive at Bilbo's home the next day for tea? It was Gandalf and 13 dwarves. Number 7. Give proof that Gandalf has knocked very hard on Bilbo's front door. Gandalf knocked so hard that he left a dent in the door. While with the same knock, the wizard removes the secret sign that he had left there the morning before. Question number 8. List the instruments the dwarves used to accompany their songs. The instruments included little fiddles, flutes, drums, violas, and Thorin's beautiful golden harp. Question number 9. What indication is there that Thorin is the leader of the dwarves? Thorin chairs the meetings and explains to the others the gravity of the situation. He informs those gathered that they may not all return from their journey or adventure. Question number 10. Explain why Bilbo lets out a horrible shriek and begins to shake like jelly. Bilbo realizes that if he should accompany the others on the journey, he might perish never to return home. Number 11. What does Gandalf threaten to do if the assembled dwarfs refuse to accept his choice of Bilbo Baggins as the 14th man for their expedition? Gandalf threatens to leave the dwarfs with only 13 for their expedition, thus ensuring bad luck. Number 12. According to Thorin, what happened to his family wealth? Thorin's family fortune had been amassed through mining, but vanished overnight when Smaug, a dragon, stole all their jewels and gold and slaughtered most of the dwarves before they could escape. For vocabulary, I'm going to just leave that with you ladies. I am sure that you've done those all very well. Chapter 2, Roast Mutton. What evidence is there that Bilbo Baggins hasn't just been dreaming about a party? Bilbo thinks he might have been imagining the party until he notices the mess in his dining room and the stacks of unwashed dishes. Question number 2. What indication is there in the note left by Thorin and company that the adventure or quest may prove to be perilous for Bilbo? The note states that funeral expenses for Bilbo will be defrayed if necessary. Question number 3. Who do the dwarfs notice has gone missing? The dwarfs comment that Gandalf is missing. The reader discovers towards the end of chapter 2, that Gandalf has gone ahead to scout out the route. Question number 4. Describe what Bilbo Baggins sees as he approaches the red light. Bilbo realizes the red light is actually a fire around which 3 trolls are sitting as they roast mutton on spits of wood. Question number 5. Explain the humor in the expression, I cook better than I cook. The first cook refers to Bilbo's culinary skills, while the second refers to him finding himself in a bit of stew cooked for the trolls' dinner. 6. Explain what happens to the dwarfs as they come to Bilbo's aid. They find themselves caught by the trolls and placed in sacks. Question number 7. How does Gandalf use his powers on Bert, Tom, and William? Gandalf mimics the trolls' voices, causing them to think they are arguing with one another. This continues until dawn, when the trolls are suddenly turned to stone, for trolls must be underground before dawn. Question number 8. How did Gandalf finally manage to open the big stone door leading to the trolls' cave? Gandalf wasn't having much luck opening the door when resorting to incantations, so Bilbo finally spoke up and offered Gandalf a key, which he claimed to have found on the ground where the trolls had been fighting. Question number 9. What did Gandalf and Thorin each take from the cave? Each of them took a beautiful sword, which they were attracted to because of their beautiful scabbards and jeweled hilts. Although there were runes etched on the blades, they were unable to decipher them. Chapter 3, A Short Rest. Number 1. According to Gandalf, what lay hidden somewhere not too far ahead of the travelers? Gandalf informed the adventurers that the fair valley of Rivendell, home to Elrond, lay not too far ahead. He informed the party they were expected, as he had sent a message ahead with one of his friends. Question number 2. Who was Elrond? Elrond was the great chief elf. He possessed some important skills, including the ability to interpret runes, which were etched on the blades of the swords and found in the trolls' caves. From these runes, Elrond was able to tell that the swords had been made by high elves from the west, and that they probably came from the goblins' plunder or possibly from dragon hordes. Number 3, explain moon letters. Moon letters are actually rune letters that can only be seen when the moon shines behind them. Some of them can only be seen when the moon has the same shape and is in the same seasons as when they were written. These special letters were invented by dwarfs and were written with silver pens. Question number 4, what is Durin's Day? Durin's Day is the first day of the last moon of the autumn, just before winter, or the first day of the dwarves' New Year. Chapter 4, Over and Under Hill. Question number 1. Explain how the dwarves and the Hobbit were able to find their way up the treacherous mountain. The travelers were assisted by the wise advice of Elrond and the knowledge and memory of Gandalf. Question number 2. What did Tolkien mean by a thunder battle? The thunder battle described in The Hobbit is a game played by the stone mountain giants of the Misty Mountains. Question number 3. Describe what the stone giants were doing. They throw large boulders back and forth, and when a boulder is not caught by a giant, it crashes against the mountainside, making the thunder. Question number 4. What indication is there that the cave might not be safe? The reader might become suspicious immediately when the two youngest dwarfs, Fili and Kili, only had enough time to carry a cursory glance at the cave. Furthermore, the wizard Gandalf knew that the caves in the mountains were seldom unoccupied. Question number 5. Summarize Bilbo's dream that evening. Bilbo dreamt that an expanding crack had appeared in the rear wall of the cave. As the floor collapsed, he began sliding down into some unknown place. Bilbo quickly realized there was some element of truth to his dream. Question number 6. Why was it fortunate that Bilbo had accompanied the dwarves into the cave? When Bilbo sensed danger, he managed to let out a yell which warned Gandalf of the impending threat from the goblins. 7. What happened when the crack in the wall snapped shut? When the crack in the wall snapped shut, the dwarves and Bilbo found themselves on the wrong side of the wall. Question number 8. Explain how the horses, ponies, and donkeys all disappeared. The goblins cooked and ate the unfortunate animals. Number 9. Why were the great goblin and many of his soldiers so upset when they saw Thorin's sword? They recognized the sword as one that had killed hundreds of goblins. It was sometimes referred to as the Orcust or Goblin Cleaver, while the goblins simply referred to it as Biter. The goblins hated the sword and anyone that carried it. Question number 10. Who came to the rescue of the dwarves and what weapon did they use? Gandalf suddenly appeared with the other sword known as Glamdring or Foehammer. The goblins hated it worse than Thorin's sword, and they referred to it as the Beater. And question number 11. What happens to Bilbo at the end of this chapter? Bilbo falls from Dory's shoulders, striking his head on a hard rock and rendering himself unconscious.